If you drive on UK motorways, what I am about to tell you could save you from a fine you never saw coming, a license you did not expect to lose, or a conviction that follows you for years. This is not a scare story. This is not clickbait. This is a genuine, urgent warning for every single driver in the United Kingdom, whether you do 10 miles a week or 10,000. The cameras on our smart motorways have changed. They have upgraded. They have multiplied. And the vast majority of drivers have absolutely no idea how powerful they have become, what they are capable of recording, and how that information is already being used against ordinary, everyday people, just like you. So before you get back behind the wheel, you need to watch this. Every second of it. Let us start with the basics, because a lot of people still do not fully understand what a smart motorway actually is. Traditional motorways have a hard shoulder, that strip of road on the left where you pull over if something goes wrong. Smart motorways were introduced to ease congestion by either using that hard shoulder as a live running lane all the time or opening it as a lane during busy periods. The idea was to move more traffic without building entirely new roads. Sounds reasonable. The problem, as you probably know, has been safety. Without a permanent hard shoulder, broken down vehicles have nowhere safe to go. People have died as a result. The backlash has been enormous. But here is where things get really significant for you as a driver. Because of that backlash, because of the public pressure and the parliamentary scrutiny, Highways England, now called National Highways, was forced to invest massively in technology to make smart motorways safer. And that investment went almost entirely into cameras. More cameras. Smarter cameras. Cameras that do things that would have seemed like science fiction just 5 years ago. The first thing you need to understand is the sheer number of cameras now operating on smart motorway stretches across England. We are not talking about the occasional overhead gantry with a speed camera tucked on top. We are talking about dense networks of cameras positioned every few hundred meters in some places, covering every lane, every angle, every inch of tarmac. These cameras feed into regional operations centres, which are staffed around the clock every day of the year. Operators sit in front of massive screens, watching live footage from hundreds of cameras simultaneously, supported by artificial intelligence that flags incidents, stopped vehicles, debris, and anything else that deviates from normal traffic flow. And this is where it gets personal for drivers. Because those same cameras, the ones designed to spot broken down cars and fallen ladders in the road, are also watching you. Your speed, your lane position, whether you are wearing a seatbelt, whether you are on your phone, whether you are tailgating, whether you are driving in a closed lane, which carries an automatic £60 fine and 3 penalty points. The infrastructure built to protect you is simultaneously the most comprehensive monitoring system ever deployed on British roads. Now, let us talk about the specific camera technologies, because this is where most drivers are genuinely shocked. The old average speed cameras, the yellow ones, the ones you know about, they work by recording your number plate at 2 points and calculating your average speed across a defined distance. Simple, effective, and you probably know to respect them. But the new generation of cameras on smart motorways goes so much further. Multifunction cameras, often referred to as MFCs in engineering documents, can capture imagery detailed enough to identify whether the driver of a vehicle is using a handheld mobile phone. Not just that a phone is present, but whether it is being actively held and used. The resolution on these systems has advanced to a point where enforcement is possible without any human operator needing to spot the behavior in real time. The artificial intelligence flags it, the footage is reviewed, the notice arrives at your home. The same systems can detect seatbelt non-compliance. Again, this is not a police officer sitting in a van by the side of the road. This is automated detection, operating continuously, flagging footage for human review, and generating evidence that can be used in court. The fine for not wearing a seatbelt is currently up to £500. There are no penalty points, but a conviction is a conviction, and insurance premiums respond accordingly. Lane discipline is another area where drivers are increasingly being caught out. Many smart motorway cameras are now capable of tracking individual vehicles across multiple camera positions, building a picture of your behaviour over a sustained period. Middle lane hogging, which became a specific offence under careless driving legislation in 2013, is something that enforcement has historically been patchy about. That is changing. The camera networks on smart motorways create the evidential record that makes consistent enforcement far more practical than it has ever been before. Then there is the red X. This is perhaps the most misunderstood and most dangerous area of smart motorway enforcement. A red X displayed on a gantry above a lane means that lane is closed. It might be closed because there is a broken down vehicle ahead. It might be closed because there is debris, an accident, roadworks, or any number of other hazards. Driving in a lane displaying a red X is a legal offence. It carries a £60 fine and 3 penalty points. And cameras capture it automatically. You do not need to be stopped by police. You do not need to be waving a flag. The camera sees your number plate in a lane showing a red X, and the machinery of enforcement begins. What many drivers still do not realise is how aggressively this has been enforced in recent years. Data from national highways has shown that hundreds of thousands of red X contraventions are recorded annually. Fixed penalties have been issued in enormous numbers, and there have been sustained calls from road safety organisations, bereaved families, and MPs for the penalties to be increased significantly, including the possibility of red X violations being reclassified to carry 6 points rather than 3. If that change comes, a single moment of inattention on a smart motorway could leave you a single offence away from a totting up ban. Now let us talk about something that many drivers do not realise at all, which is that smart motorway cameras do not operate in isolation. They are connected to the wider network of automatic number plate recognition cameras, known as ANPR, that operates across the entire country. When your vehicle passes a smart motorway camera, your number plate is read, time-stamped, and logged. That data is cross-referenced with databases including the Motor Insurers Bureau, which holds records of every insured vehicle in the UK. If your vehicle is uninsured, the camera knows. If your vehicle has no valid MOT, the camera knows. If there is a marker on your vehicle for any reason, the camera knows. And that information is available to police in real time. This is not hypothetical. Officers in patrol cars are routinely directed to vehicles flagged by ANPR, including on motorway stretches, based on hits generated by overhead cameras. You might have been driving entirely lawfully in terms of your speed and lane discipline, but if your insurance lapsed 3 weeks ago, those cameras are working against you the moment you enter a smart motorway. The data retention question is also something drivers rarely think about. Footage from smart motorway cameras is not deleted after 5 minutes. Depending on the system and the purpose, footage can be retained for varying periods, and footage captured as part of a recorded incident or potential enforcement action can be held for as long as is necessary to complete that process, which can stretch to months. If you were involved in an incident and drove away thinking nothing had been captured, there is a very real possibility that multiple angles of that incident are sitting in a data store somewhere, waiting. There is also the emerging area of cross-referencing with insurance telematics. If you have a black box policy, your insurer has data about your driving. In the event of a disputed claim or a serious incident, smart motorway camera footage and telematics data can both become part of the picture that investigators assemble. Drivers who behave differently when they think they are being watched, compared to when they think they are not, are increasingly finding that the gap between those two situations is closing fast. What should you actually do with all of this information? Firstly, treat every smart motorway as if every camera is live and fully functional, because functionally, that is the correct assumption. Every gantry, every overhead unit, every roadside housing. Assume it sees you. Assume it reads your plate. Assume it is feeding data somewhere. Secondly, know the rules around the red X. Never, under any circumstances, drive in a lane displaying a red X. Not for a moment. Not to get past a slow vehicle, not because you cannot see any obvious hazard. The hazard may be around the bend. The lane may be closed in anticipation of a developing situation. The camera does not care why you did it. Thirdly, check your documents before long motorway journeys. Insurance, MOT, tax, these are basics, but the number of drivers caught by ANPR on cameras linked to motorway infrastructure for basic document failures is genuinely startling. Fourthly, understand that the speed enforcement on smart motorways is absolute. Variable speed limits, the ones displayed on the gantry signs, are legally enforceable the moment they are displayed. Not advisory, not approximate, enforceable. If the sign says 50, the limit is 50, and the cameras are calibrated to it. Fifthly, your phone stays down. Not on your lap, not propped against the wheel, not in a holder if you are touching it to do anything other than use a hands-free function. The cameras are looking for it, and the penalties, since the 2022 law change, are a £200 fine and 6 penalty points. One offence, 6 points. For a newer driver with fewer than 2 years on a full licence, that is a revocation. Gone. Back to square one. The smart motorway system in the United Kingdom has been a deeply controversial chapter in transport policy. The safety concerns are real and they are legitimate. Families have lost people in circumstances that should never have happened. That battle is ongoing, and the future of the programme remains politically uncertain. But whatever happens to the infrastructure, the cameras are not going anywhere. If anything, they will only become more capable, more connected, and more consequential for drivers who are not paying attention. You now know more about how these systems work than the overwhelming majority of people who drive on these roads every single day. Use that knowledge. Drive with the awareness that the motorway network is not a space where you can afford moments of inattention, complacency, or corner cutting. It never was, but now there is a technological layer watching that makes the consequences of those moments almost inevitable. Stay legal, stay alert, stay safe. And if this video has given you information you did not have before, do the one thing that costs you nothing and helps this channel more than you know. Subscribe. Hit that button right now because there is a lot more that you need to know about driving in the UK, and we are not finished yet. Subscribe to my channel for more essential UK driving updates, road law breakdowns, and alerts that could save your licence, your money, and your safety on the road.